Is this swimsuit good for me? Amelia seemed to be trying on summer clothes for the 100th time. Finally, her and her husband's wish had come true. They would spend the entire winter and spring in a warm place. Her husband's job allowed him to work remotely. Alexander, why aren't you saying anything? She shook her husband's arm. Don't you even think that we will go for a walk on the beach tomorrow and breathe in the sea air? To be honest, I don't think so, he smiled. Amelia hugged her husband and caressed his hand with hers, but their tender moment was interrupted by the doorbell. Who is it? Amelia asked. It's Henry. Your third cousin. Why is he here? I asked him to take care of the apartment while we're gone. I have to give him the key. Amelia frowned. She couldn't remember them discussing this arrangement. Why am I only finding that out at the last minute? We discussed it, you just forgot. But Henry is not the closest to us. He is still young. 20 years old. He is not young. He is now a man. He has to learn to take responsibility. And your mom will not run with a Band-Aid in the subway. I don't know if that's true. There are friends. So do you trust your friends more than your family? Yes, replied Amelia hastily, but she hesitated. I mean, no, of course you should trust your relatives. I just don't know your relatives very well. My relatives are wonderful people. And your friends already have enough to do. You will spend a guilty conscience all the time. How could you drive to sea? Mocked one of Amelia's friends, and she laughed. Seriously. We need someone who pours the flowers, don't we? Yes, we need that. I go before he thinks differently, kissed Alexander Amelia's forehead, and hurried to open the door for his little brother. Amelia thought she really had forgotten this conversation. She wanted to bring her favorite ficus and a few orchids to her mother, but she had to pack up first. Come on, do the tour, a voice reported from the hallway. Where did you and what? There is the kitchen, there is the living room, there. Hello, Henry. Amelia looked up at her brother. This is the bedroom, and there are no flowers here. Yes, but there is a big bed, he giggled. That was just a joke. Amelia looked at Henry surprised. He was much younger than Alexander, and what was going on in his head was a mystery to her. Come, I will show you your area of responsibility. Pour the flowers once a week. That is enough to keep them from drying out. It's not too hot in winter. And you make sure that the apartment is okay. Our neighbors are unreliable. They flood, they put fire, you never know what to expect from them. Don't worry, brother, I take care of it. Everything will be fine. My mother and father always leave the house for me. If something happens, you call the police immediately. Otherwise, the insurance company refuses to pay us. Understood. While the men discussed something, Amelia unpacked. She found it right that Alexander turned to his brother. A lot could happen in 6 months of absence. Amelia's mother lived far away and was able to come for health reasons at most once a month. Amelia's friends were not ideal, and Alexander didn't exaggerate when he said her friends were jealous of her. At their age, many already had children, mortgages, and a million problems. Few people in their surroundings could afford to go out and enjoy life as much as they do. Alexander, where are your socks? Under the bed. Go and search for it yourself. I don't have time for anything. You drive at 6 in the morning? I can drive you. I took my father's car for a jaunt. Henry offered it. Amelia, are you doing well? We can take a taxi. Thanks. Why should you waste your money? It is 3 times as expensive at night. I'm a good driver. You are not afraid. I've had my driver's license for 2 years. Really, Amelia? Yes. Why? Let Henry drive us. He will also help us with the suitcase. I can't wear everything, and you don't need to lift anything difficult. Amelia didn't quite understand why Henry had to wait until she drove off, but she didn't contradict. Finally, her husband went into the kitchen, and she and her brother sat there as she packed her things. Don't you want sleep? She asked. I'll sleep on the plane. It is a long flight, said Alexander. Amelia saw the empty glasses on the table and realized that her husband hadn't wasted time. As she grabbed, he celebrated his departure. Well, go and close the suitcase. I need the power of a man. I'll close it later. Go to Amelia. Don't get in my way. Amelia wanted to say something, but she realized that she didn't want to argue. She tried to sleep, but the loud voices and the laughter of the men disturbed and annoyed her. After all, she could no longer calm down. Amelia regretted 100 times that she had accepted Henry's services. It would have been better if they had taken a taxi and the house would have been calm and peaceful. When she realized that it was time to go, Amelia hurriedly dragged her suitcase into the hallway. "Alexander, get ready. You promised to help me." In response, she heard a new laughter. "So what's going on? Did you change your mind?" The purest chaos reigned in the kitchen. Henry was lying on the sofa and Alexander was eating his chips with a bottle in his hand. "Did I misunderstand something? Are we going at all?" Amelia lost control. "Yes, we're going. I'll get you now." Henry tried to get up, but he couldn't. "He should take us to the airport." "Where did you look?" She shouted at her husband. "Don't scream, Amelia. We'll make it somehow." In contrast to his brother, Alexander could keep on his feet, but he couldn't close the bag. He had torn down the zipper of one of the suitcases. Therefore, some of the things had to be switched into bags. While Amelia walked around in the house, Henry slept in the kitchen instead of calling a taxi, while Alexander, after washing his face, began to think more or less normally. "Let him go. Wake him up. The taxi comes immediately. We're already late." Amelia was worried. "Where does he want to go? It's night. Let him sleep. He has his keys. He will sleep and go in the morning," said Alexander. It was not a time for discussions, so Amelia had to agree. As soon as she dragged her bags, she got into the car with a discouraged look. Alexander had himself plopped on the seat next to her and kept his eyes. "The main thing is that we do not miss the plane," thought Amelia. For a while, she forgot Henry and everything else. "Where is the other suitcase? Didn't you bring it? All your stuff is in there." After counting the luggage at the airport, Amelia went up in flames. "Amelia, I thought you had it." "Don't scream," said Alexander. "Me? You think I had to carry a suitcase and 3 bags? Are my things in there?" "Yes." "Then relax. I won't need anything except shorts and flip-flops." He knocked on his leg. "I have everything I wear. If I need something, I'll buy it." Amelia frowned. If the argument hadn't ended yet, she would have told her husband everything she was thinking. But instead, she hurried to the check-in counter and only relaxed when she got her boarding pass. Alexander slept through the entire flight, but Amelia was still wide awake, overwhelmed by her emotions. Fortunately, the never-ending journey came to an end with a successful landing, and Amelia finally let out a sigh of relief. Despite their disagreements, the couple arrived without any incidents. The warm sea and the sunshine lifted their spirits, and Amelia didn't want to dig into their relationship by dwelling on the past. She trusted that Alexander had sorted things out with his brother, and that Henry had managed to clean up and lock the apartment before leaving. The issue resurfaced a week later. "How are my orchids? Did Henry stop by?" Amelia asked. "Yes, it's okay," said Alexander. "Don't worry, everything is fine. You can tell your mother that she should take it easy. Henry will be fine." Amelia twitched her shoulders. Every now and then Henry sent selfies with a watering can as a report. "Let it stay with us, turn on the light and wait a while. Then it becomes clear that the apartment is habitable." "Mom is worried," said Amelia one day. "I already told him. Don't worry, everything is under control. Your mother is always afraid, and they don't trust me. I have my snout full." Amelia smiled. Life in the holiday complex was very relaxing, and she found that her husband was right. "How happy we are." She was happy. "We can afford it," said Alexander. He worked remotely and took care of everything. Over time, Amelia relaxed and stopped asking for the apartment. She wouldn't have asked about it if her mother hadn't called 2 months later. "What? Alexander was right. You're too emotional. Don't come to our house. Henry is fine," laughed Amelia. "I didn't tell you right away, but now something is obviously not right." "Mom, seriously. So what's going on?" "I stopped by and saw that the dishes were dirty." Then I thought you were in a hurry and would have left everything behind. So I cleaned up. With a plaster? Yes, and I am a woman. What's wrong with a plaster? What's a plaster? Thanks. And then? I didn't come back for a while. And then guests came and I had to buy a cake. I went to my favorite pastry shop in your neighborhood. I passed your house by taxi and the light was on. I still know that I made it out. And, no, it was still on. Henry must have left it. I said he watered his flowers once a week. I brought your flowers to my home. You have no flowers. I told Alexander on the phone that I took everything away. Aunt Zina drove me and helped me carry all the pots. I didn't rely on your Henry. Amelia was silent. But the light is okay. I made it out. Maybe I forgot to turn it off. But yesterday I drove past your house again and saw a girl standing by the window. You must have imagined that. No, I saw her. Well, then go away today, said Amelia, unsure. But take someone with you. You have the key. You have the key. Och, I'll call you later. After talking to her mother, Amelia went to her husband. Hey, how long has Henry been here? For 14 days. Maybe he asked someone to come by. Pour the flowers that are not there. No, what are you doing? I strictly forbidden him to give our keys to strangers. Alexander paused. Then he realized what his wife said. There are no flowers. That's right. Amelia told about the conversation with her mother, and Alexander began to call his brother. But he didn't go to the phone. But the mother-in-law quickly called back. You have a family of 4 who lives at home. There is talk of the mother. You claim that you have paid 3 monthly rents and do not want to move out. They threaten to complain. Your Henry is a fraudster. Who did you give the keys? And if I haven't seen it? What would I have done then? Amelia was stunned. Call Henry. Tell them that he should take his tenants with him and give me the keys. And give me the money for the rent. And you? No, give it back to people. I'm talking to Alexander. I'll talk to Alexander. Amelia wanted to talk to her husband, but he was very busy, and they could only talk late in the evening. So, Sue be tenant? Yes. Understood. Are you not surprised? Amelia grabbed air. So, well, what? Did you know that? Henry has money problems. He is a student. And he wants to go to the cinema with girls. So what? We didn't rent to keep strangers away, although we could have earned money ourselves. Amelia could not hide her disappointment. And you secretly agreed with your brother to open a brothel behind my back? No, it is not. How? Did he take you? No, he only complained that he had nowhere to stay and asked me to stay for a week or 2 until he sorted out his problems. That was 2 months ago, and apparently he decided to sort out his problems at our expense. Call him immediately. I already did. He's not answering. Call your relatives. Call whoever you want. But I want these tenants gone by tomorrow morning. While Alexander called his relatives, Amelia found a photo on social media that revealed the real situation. It turned out that Henry had followed his brother's example and, after making money in a foreign apartment, had moved south. He's gone, indeed, confirmed the mother. He didn't want to say where he went. We didn't follow him, but we should. What did he do? Alexander told his aunt everything that had happened. She understood. It's our own fault. He found someone to trust. I thought he had grown up, responsible. Did you think? It is a good thing that you put the equipment in position. The boys from his company do things that you wouldn't wish for, so swap the locks before it is too late. Alexander only sighed. Amelia was right. We couldn't trust anyone. What should we do now? I don't know it. Exchange the locks, said Alexander. What about the tenants? This is my slightest concern at the moment. Why did you let him go in at all? You knew that he was so unreliable. My father really wanted me to help my relatives. He wanted me to guarantee him and get him a job in our company. He is close to the cash register. So I decided that he would live with us for a while and then get a job, and everything would be good. But he fooled me on all fronts. The couple took a long time to find out who was right and who wasn't. In the end, Alexander had to repay the rent from his own pocket. "I paid for my own gutter. It is good that you have not already transferred Henry's money next month." "He insisted on it," said the tenant as she unpacked her things. Take a look at the ownership certificates next time, and don't trust young people. She neither. Alexander had learned his lesson, but Henry was uncomfortably surprised when the money went out and he had to return to the city. But his brother's apartment, where he should pour the flowers, suddenly no longer fit into the castle. It turned out that Alexander's mother-in-law had exchanged the locks on the doors, and now Henry had to look for another work, because his brother's company no longer wanted to hire him, and the broker's rental business did not work.